What's up guys, thanks for clicking and watching Motorcycles Offroad. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 dual sport motorcycles for a beginner or somebody getting back into riding that maybe took a little bit of a break. The real purpose of this video is for a discussion and to share information about a new motorcycle for you so you can get right into riding safely. Now I've been riding dual sports for over 20 years and a lot of the dual sports that are on the market right now I have rode and tested extensively, and you can find a lot of those reviews on this very channel. So let's just get right into the video. So firstly, let's talk about key considerations. In my definition, a true dual sport is a bike that you can enjoy nice commutes to work, enjoy the outdoors, as well as take the bike out for weekend warrior activities. Dual sports are usually very reliable, with much longer service intervals than their dirt bike counterparts. When it comes to a beginner's bike, you want something that you can take anywhere, is light enough that you can pick up, has the proper seat height for your personal height, and lastly, you don't need anything that's overpowered where if you don't have the right wrist discipline and you hit a bump, it doesn't go flying and send you into a tree or an obstacle. So that's the criteria, and with that being said, let's start with number 1. If you're at least 5'8" or 172 centimeters tall, and in the 200 pound or less range, which is 90 kilograms, I would start with the Honda CRF300L. No surprise there. But if you're taller, shorter, or heavier, don't worry, I have the bike for you. But first, let's talk about the 300L and all the reasons why this is a good beginner dual sport. I could make a whole video listing why the CRF300L is a great beginner all the way up to the intermediate, but let's go over some key features. Firstly, it's well priced. In the US, it's got a new MSRP at $57.49 currently. Now there's always state fees, taxes, shipping fees, etc. But now that the pandemic has been over for a couple years, these bikes aren't as rare. You can always negotiate the price down, try to get some of them fees off, or at the very least, get some free riding gear when you're at the dealer. Don't be afraid to ask for that. That's a common situation where you're like, hey, I'm spending $6,000 for this motorcycle. Can you throw in this helmet and this jacket too? That's contingent on the sale, and a lot of salesmen will work that out for you without an issue. Not to mention this bike has been out for 4 years, so you can find some used ones out there and cut all the fees altogether. And a lot of times with the used ones, you already get upgrades like suspension and tires, etc. This bike is a little over 300 pounds or 138 kilograms, and it has a very nice 34.6 seat height, or that is 878 millimeters. It also has a great option for ABS for road safety, basically making it so you don't lock up your front brake and a panic brake, so you can come to a nice controlled slow stop. The ABS is easy to disengage off-road with a hold of one button, and the dash is super clear and informative. New riders will love the addition of a gear indicator as well. Other great amenities for beginners is a slipper clutch, which helps that if you aggressively downshift, you won't lock up your rear tire or break anything, and super long service intervals, meaning that you're not spending every week changing your oil, like you would with like KTM or something like that if you try to commute with it. This bike also has a huge aftermarket presence, as well as great communities that help you learn how to wrench on your bike yourself. If you are interested, I have my own Facebook group for this bike, which has over 6,000 members, and if you post a question there, I'm sure someone could give you some great information. I'll link that in the first comment below in case you do end up with this bike or you already have one. But like I said, we could go on and on about why this bike is great for beginners all the way up to intermediate, but now we're going to move on to number 2. So let's say you're a little bit shorter. Now I must say, I did just release a full video talking about dual sports for shorter riders, so be sure to watch that after this video. But one shorter option is you could get a 300LS, which is a 32.7 inch seat height or 830 millimeters, but I'm told these are super rare and hard to find. So for short riders, I have to recommend the XT250 as the king. Just like the 300L, we do have a full XT250 video review on the channel, and is slightly lighter weight than the 300L, but it also sits at the same seat height as the 300LS at 32.7, 830 millimeters. Now this is a great bike because it's been around for a very long time. You can find it with carburetor, without carburetor, depending on what year you search for, and generally you can buy these very inexpensive new. They have plenty of power, they will take you anywhere, they will climb up anything, and overall they're very reliable. They also have pretty nice service intervals, as well as a pretty solid set of groups with understanding and forums for this motorcycle. I think if you're a bit on the taller side, you'll find that your knees are hitting the handlebars, and this is not the best bike for you, but on the shorter side, this bike is great and has to be on this list when we talk about beginner dual sport motorcycles. Alright, let's move on to number 3. Number 3, let's say you're a bit taller, maybe a bit heavier, then I would say the older DRZ model is the king. This is one of the most reliable motorcycles on the market, and I say older because the newer one now I haven't tested. It's a bit heavier, it has fuel injection, etc. But I do know about the older model, and I do know it's dead reliable. It's often a choice for taller riders. These would be anyone over the average of 5'8", 172 centimeters, or maybe you're a bit heavier because the suspension is a bit stiff on this motorcycle and great for heavier riders. But all around, this is a very moldable, versatile machine. This is one of those bikes that I would say could also double as an ATV bike, whereas with the perfect kit, you can use this for moto camping, you can use it for long distance, you can use it for BDRs, the TAT, anything. Now, the one thing to watch out for is the DRZ does hold its value, and for some shorter riders, you may find this bike to be a bit unnerving with its total seat height. Though it is only a couple inches taller, a little over 5 centimeters taller than the 300L, that is the inseam we're talking about. If you're on a hill or you're on some single track, and maybe the bike starts to fall and you can't drop a leg down. As a beginner rider, a lot of people like to dab their foot, and the DRZ feels tall for its weight, but checks all the boxes. Ride it back and forth to work every day of the week, take it on the weekend rides. Long service intervals, good aftermarket, easy to work on. Overall, an amazing motorcycle. Number 4. Now, number 4, I want to go to the used market a little bit, and I want to tell you about one of my first off-road motorcycles, which was the DR350S. Now, this is the predecessor to the DRZ400, but the DRZ350S is also dead reliable. If you get the S, it comes with electric start. It's actually lighter than all of the aforementioned bikes, and it has the same seat height as the Honda 300L. Now, you will deal with a dated dash, maybe some dated ergonomics, but that's part of the charm of getting a used bike like this. You can pick them up in my area for around $2,000, give or take, ride it for a while, and sell it for the exact same price you bought it for. So it's a win-win. Now, the DR350 and the Honda 300L both have 6-speed transmissions, whereas the DRZ400 and the XT250 both have 5. I find personally I enjoy having the 6-speed transmission over the 5, even if you do stretch it out with gearing, because at the 5, when I'm cruising on the highway, I always feel like snapping up to the 6th gear and lowering engine RPMs, and you have the luxury of that with this motorcycle. So that's my number 4. Now, number 5 will come at a bit of controversy, because number 5 I have the KLR 650S and KLR 650. Let's throw both of them in there. The reason why is because the S model has the same low seat height similar to the XT250, but it is also 456 pounds, which is 206 kilograms. She's a beefy girl, but this bike is known for dead reliability, and if you're someone that's doing more road riding and you want to do more just gravel roads, this is a good bike for you. Now, if you're on the taller side, you get the KLR 650 and not the S model. But there is one thing I want to make you aware of. Even though the standard model is, let's say, 7 centimeters or 3 inches taller on the seat height, it's kind of deceptive because a motorcycle like the KLR has a huge fuel supply. And when you start to get into these bikes that are more adventure style and have a bigger fuel supply, the tank is wider. And it makes a difference when it comes to putting your legs to the ground. So the 32-inch seat height actually feels a bit taller. So just keep that in mind. But the big advantage here is the standard KLR 650 can be lowered, and you can find it at a multitude of different years, and all of them just as reliable as the last. I mean, I've seen videos where people have stress tested and beat the crap out of this bike, and it just takes every bit of it. I know everyone who has ever owned a KLR 650 will tell you how great of a bike it is, how reliable it is, and how they trust it through any situation. And also, I want to make it known that if you are a beginner, I do have a top 5 beginner tips video that can help you start to hone your skills to ride out there safely. And another big point to beginner riding is please take safety seriously. There's only so many of us. Get yourself a helmet, riding boots, and a jacket, and I have to emphasize riding boots because some people are just wearing work boots and this will not protect your ankle at all, and you want a flat, hard sole so when you stand on your pegs, take your ankles out of the equation, you can start to build your skills. If you wear a work boot, it kind of molds around the peg and puts a lot of stress on your ankles. Now, the most common injuries you're going to get on dual sport riding could be your hands, your wrist, if you fall and you put your hands down improperly, or the most common one would be hurting your ankle because without the proper boot, just a simple tip over can hurt your leg, hurt your ankle, and take you out of riding for weeks, maybe months. That all can be avoided. The whole difference is if you're wearing the correct boots, you'll just be slightly annoyed, get up, and go on with your day and not even think about it again. Also, beginners, please don't do anything you're not ready for. Take your time to learn how to ride your bike, ride with confidence, and respond and react to changing environmental hazards. I'm sorry I went on a little bit of a tangent, but if you're a beginner, all this stuff has to be said because I want you guys to be safe out there, and I need you guys to stay riding to keep our community strong. Getting hurt takes you off the bike, and nobody needs to suffer that or loss of work or etc. So a quick recap. We got the Honda CRF300L, the XT250, we got the DRZ400, the DR350S, and a version of the KLR 650. What do you guys think of my list? Share your comments comments below for all the new riders so they can see and learn from the comment section as well, and it could be an ever-growing learning experience. Lastly, I hope you enjoyed and I earned your subscription, so subscribe here at Motorcycles Offroad for all your dual sport and adventure riding information. My name is Andrew, this is Motorcycles Offroad. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe out there.